Hi everyone, it's Monica, and welcome back to Tailor-Made Cards for You. Well, a couple of days ago I shared with you the set that I got from Karen Burniston, and this of course was the twist panel pop-up. And I created this cute little book that housed some of my ATC bugs. And that was actually the insert of this particular card, but today we're going to put the card together. I wanted to go ahead and put this in a couple of videos because really there are two parts to this card. You've got the inside of the card and then you've got the outside. So now that we've gone ahead and we've created the pop out, we're going to go ahead and create the card and then put it together. So you're going to want to start out with a piece of white cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and you're going to score it right in the middle at 5 1/2. And the set that I'm using to decorate the card is from my Vintage Garden Passport Kit that was released yesterday. And within the kit, I have paper sized perfectly to fit the inside and outside of this card. So I went ahead and I printed my paper and I cut it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And that was perfectly sized to fit inside the card as well as outside. Now for the outside of the card, I did decide to use this really cute honeycomb. And on the honeycomb digital image, you're going to see some cute little bees which match this card perfectly. And then the cardstock for the inside of the card coordinates really nicely as well. The colors are like a honeycomb, kind of like honey color yellow. And it is a perfect color to go with my insect theme. So after you've got your cardstock layered onto your white cardstock, it's time to add the inside piece. And this is the piece that's going to house that pop out. And this piece is going to measure 9 inches by 4 inches. And you're going to want to score it right in half. Now on my video, the paper that I started to use is not the paper that I ended up with. And this is because when I was actually adhering the middle piece, I didn't get the point right in the middle. And I'm going to show you what not to do because I ended up having to rip up the paper and actually add another piece. And this just proved how important and precise these folds and these layers need to be. Because in order for this little mechanism and this little arms to open up and for your card to fold down nicely, you have to make sure that it is lined up perfectly. So after I cut my cardstock and I scored it, I used a piece of the die set, which I'm showing you here, and I put it right in the middle. You can see those little tabs, and that kind of shows you where to line it up right in the middle. And then there are some scores on it, so it's really easy to fold over. So you're going to fold it over right in half, and you're going to want to make sure that your cardstock is folded perfectly in half so that it lays nicely. And then after you have that fold right down the middle, you're going to want to go ahead and open up your card, and then you're going to want to fold that cut piece in the middle, and you want the fold to be as a peak, so you want it to be like a mountain. And you're also going to have some scores on the side that are going to create a point. So just follow the score line as I'm doing here to create your point, and then fold down, push down those edges to create 2 points that kind of go in the middle, and they're going to pretty much touch. And then go ahead and just fold it down so that way you can crease the edges. Now this is going to be the piece that holds your pop out. So you want to make sure that it opens and closes really nicely. So once you have it folded the way that it's supposed to be, go ahead and just open and close it a few times to make sure that the mechanics of the piece is going to work. All right, so if I stress nothing else on this card video, I stress this. It is so important that you line up that point right in the middle of your score line for your card, because if it is not right in the middle, then your card will not open and close very well. And that's the problem that I actually encountered. My point was just a little bit lower than the score line, and when I went to open and close the card, it didn't open and close very well. So I ended up pulling up the piece and working with another piece. So just make sure when you are lining it up that you get that point right in the middle of the score. And what I would recommend is just add some ATG tape or your whatever adhesive you're going to be using to one side. And then once you have that lined up perfectly, then you can go ahead and add the adhesive to the second side. And if you get that lined up perfectly, then your card is going to open and close very easily. It should open and close just like I'm showing you here. But what happened is when I added that other adhesive on the back side, because my point wasn't lined up perfectly, the card would not open up all the way. So as you can see here, I was able to close it, but that's as far as I was able to open it. And really, you should be able to open it all the way flat. So I ended up stopping my camera, pulling up that paper and fixing it. And that's why you're seeing a different type of cardstock in the middle, because I wanted to fix it off screen. And as you can see now, it opens and closes very easily. So it was a good lesson learned for me. And hopefully I can share that with you so you don't have that problem. Just make sure that your point is lined up exactly in the middle. All right, so once I got past that obstacle, it was time to add my wings. And those are the two pieces that I'm showing here. Now, when you die cut these, it's going to be a straight piece, of course, and then you're going to have that score line that cuts out in the middle. And then you just want to fold it again like a mountain, so that way your top point is on the top, and it's going to fit right over those little wings that we had folded earlier. And the point is great, and they line up really nicely. So just take your time and make sure that your points match to create those little wings. And you're going to do that on both sides. And then once you have those wings attached, it's time to add your pop out. And this, of course, is those 4 panels that have the bugs. Now, when you add your adhesive, or your pop out, I should say, just a couple of tips here. Number 1, on the wings, there is a little score mark that you'll be able to see that shows you exactly how far your adhesive needs to go. So just pay attention to that when you're adding your adhesive. And when you add your adhesive, you're only going to add adhesive on the left side, on the top part of the wing, right above the fold. And then on the right side, you're going to add your adhesive on the bottom part of the wing, which is underneath the fold or the score line. And then when you add your pop out, you're going to want to center it. And I just took a ruler and I measured right in the middle. So you might want to add a little tick mark or something with a pencil, so that way you can add it right in the middle. Now, of course, before you actually add your pop out, you're going to want to finish decorating your card. So if you're going to use any stamping, or if you're going to add any ephemera to your card, now's the time to do it before you actually add that pop out. Now, I'm using another piece from my imagesGarden set, and because this is kind of a bug bee theme, I had this really pretty ephemera of a hive syrup. And then I had a beekeeper vintage book cover that I used for the cover of my card. And I just layered them. They fit really nice on the card. And then for the inside, had I not used this paper, this stripe paper, it actually has some glitter and some embossing. I probably would have stamped some bugs, but instead I ran ahead and just used some of my ephemera to go inside of the card. But certainly you can add some of your own stamping. That Tim Holtz Entomology collection would be perfect for this type of a card as well, because there's some great bugs and die sets as well. But if you choose not to invest in the stamps, as a reminder, my ATC bug set is a digital set, and you can easily just purchase that and save it in your folders and print it out whenever you need to use it. The bug set coordinates really well with the imagesGarden passport kit that released yesterday. So the two of them together, you can make loads and loads of fun vintage nature cards. Now remember, when you are adding your pop out, you want to make sure that you do find the center of your pop out. And I just took a ruler, like I said, and found the center point. So that way, when I went to adhere my left side, I know exactly where the center was. And the center is going to go right where that score line is on your left wing. And for the left wing, you're going to put your adhesive on the top portion to that little tick mark that is on the wing. And then on the right wing, you're going to put the score tape on the bottom portion. So just like I'm doing here, you want to make sure that you only add the score tape to the top portion and not going any farther down than that little score line. And then again, the same thing on the right side, but just on the bottom portion. Now remember, when you are adding that pop-up to your wings, you want to make sure that you're using really strong adhesive because again, this is a card that you're going to be opening and closing and it's going to be popping out. So you just want to make sure that you have some really strong adhesive so that way your pop-up doesn't fall out. It's going to be so fun that I know that the recipient's going to be opening and closing this card so often. So you just want to make sure that you have really strong adhesive. Now I thought it might be kind of fun to do a giveaway, and I'm going to give away 2 items here. I have 2 cards, 2 pop-up cards, and then I also have 2 of those little books. So I'm going to go ahead and give 1 set to 1 commenter and then a second set to the second person. So that way if you do decide to actually purchase this set, you'll have an example. And even if you don't decide to purchase this set, you'll have a fun little card and a fun little book to display. So I will leave a list of all the products that I've used to create the card along with the links to the stores. Now remember, part of this kit is the Vintage Garden passport kit that I released yesterday and the ATC printable. So those will be in my Etsy shop, but I'll have links to those as well. Now if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. And if you want to be entered into my drawing to win one of the cards and the little book, go ahead and leave me a comment. And as a reminder, you do have to be a subscriber to my channel in order to be eligible to win. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you head out. And there is a little bell on the top right hand side that will notify you anytime a new video gets posted. All right, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.